A call in the pharmaceutical sales process refers to a meeting or presentation with a healthcare provider, such as a doctor or nurse, to discuss a pharmaceutical product or service. These calls are an important part of the sales process, as they allow sales representatives to educate healthcare providers about the benefits and proper use of their products, as well as address any questions or concerns the provider may have. Detailing is a specific type of call in the pharmaceutical sales process where a sales representative provides in-depth information about a particular product to a healthcare provider. This can involve presenting clinical data, discussing the product's mechanism of action, and addressing any questions or concerns the provider may have. Reps may offer samples or materials to the healthcare provider to help them learn more about the product. One of the challenges of analyzing call data is that multiple products and brands can be discussed on the same call. Do you count calls? Or details? In addition, not all products are allocated the same amount of time on a call. Product priority in pharmaceutical sales refers to the order in which sales representatives promote different products to healthcare providers during a call. This can be based on a variety of factors, such as the potential for sales, the importance of the product to the company, and the amount of time and resources the company is willing to invest in promoting the product. Myth or fact? The term call came from the practice in the 80s when sales reps would call in using the telephone to report to their management team which interactions they had with which HCPs. Since they were on the road most of the time, and networked computers and devices were not a thing back then, they had to report field activity somehow, and this was done using a call. Hence the term stuck. When it comes to counting, calls sometimes are not done one-on-one. A group call refers to a meeting or presentation with a group of healthcare providers, such as doctors or nurses, to discuss a pharmaceutical product or service. Group calls can be an effective way for sales representatives to reach a large number of healthcare providers at once, especially in cases where it may be difficult to schedule individual calls with each provider. Why is call data not always complete or accurate? Because it is not always automated. Let's see how a call happens in the real world. Since COVID, more offices have asked for calls to be scheduled ahead of time. These are calls by appointment. Most calls still happen based on walk-ins. A rep has a route which is a geographically convenient sequence they follow during the day. Pre-call, before a call happens, there can be a bit of planning and review involved. This process is known as pre-call. This can be done at home, in the car, or in the waiting area. Once a rep arrives at their destination, they might need to wait for the HCP to become available. During the waiting time, a rep may prepare for the interaction by looking at their device. They might enter some partial information ahead of time. Often, they may see the HCP in the hallway for just a couple of minutes. If they do, they try to make the most of the time. Sometimes, they may not even see the HCP they had intended to see but run into some other HCP. Real life is unpredictable. Some applications may record digital presentation results directly. But often a rep records the call information after the HCP visit in a process known as post-call. The rep will review the data entered or add additional data before submitting the call. Submitting a call is the process of acknowledging that the call happened. There can be planned calls that never happened, or draft or saved calls. The common practice is to count submitted calls only. While traditionally, almost all calls were performed in person, during COVID the popularity of video calls exploded. Remote or virtual calls are important in pharmaceutical sales for a number of reasons. Some of the benefits of using remote or virtual calls in the sales process include increased efficiency. Remote or virtual calls can save time and resources by eliminating the need for sales representatives to travel to meet with healthcare providers in person. This can allow sales reps to reach a greater number of providers in a shorter amount of time. Flexibility. Remote or virtual calls can be scheduled at a time that is convenient for both the sales representative and the healthcare provider, regardless of their location. This can make it easier to schedule calls and ensure that both parties have the time and focus they need to have a productive conversation. Improved accessibility. Remote or virtual calls can make it easier for sales representatives to reach healthcare providers who may be located in remote or hard-to-reach areas. This can be particularly useful in cases where it may be difficult or time-consuming to schedule an in-person visit. Enhanced communication. Remote or virtual calls can make it easier for sales reps to share information and materials with healthcare providers as HCPs are very busy. In conclusion, a call is the primary touchpoint between sales reps and HCPs. A lot of useful information is exchanged. Due to the nuances of what can happen in real life, call recording can get very complex. Many companies analyze call data to harvest opportunities to increase efficiency.